Alright, looks like we are good to go. Okay, that's up, that's running. I love if we could just press the button and everything works. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Alright. Alright, that's all good. Alright. Alright. Morning, everybody. What's going on? How's everybody doing? Oh, that first sip of coffee. So good. Alright. Back at it. Today we are working on this bad mama jamma again. Let's see, where are we? Well, last time, last couple of times I've been getting questions about, how long has it been? How long have you been working on this guy? I was actually curious that myself because I've pretty much only been working on this guy for just the Pixelogic streams. So I went back and counted my Pixelogic streams on this guy, which has only been 2 hours apiece, and apparently it's only been 36 hours on this guy. So less than a week's work so far, just to give an idea of how much and how long. But that's streaming hours, so you could probably chop about 4 hours off of that total. Alright. Let's see. Make sure all of that. Okay, let's go. Alright. Let's roll. I think today, actually, you know what? I did work on this a little bit off stream. I was working on this part of the arm and getting all this connected. I think that's pretty much where we left off last time. So I pretty much just did the same thing to this arm, to the front and back, that we've been doing for the last couple of streams. Try to get ahead of ourselves here. I think today I'm going to start working on refining some of these pieces here. Let's just start knocking this stuff out, man. Gotta get rolling on this dude. How's everybody else doing? You guys all doing good? Doing well, hopefully. I think what I'm going to do for this guy, because this guy is actually Dynameshed. Oops. I think what I'm going to do is refine the shapes a little bit better, and then we'll go ahead and reproject this guy. So I'm just going to thin all this out a little bit. I think we're going to try to rely a little bit more on some alpha work for these guys. And more subtlety on the fold logic. It's really just a flap of leather. It's not too crazy, so. Just kind of calm some of that stuff down a little bit. We'll try to work on getting these edges a little bit more refined too here. What's up, Beckert? How you doing, man? Yeah. So I just end up not sometimes I can't make myself work. I just end up not doing anything because I'm afraid I'll just mess up the sculpt and stop. So that's the thing is it's kind of like sketchbooks, right? Is it's just practice, really. It's not too much of I got to make things perfect. It's just creative problem solving on the in real time. That's all. The thing is if you don't practice, you don't get better. So you got to practice. Keep going. The nice thing is that usually your first one sucks, but your next one is better. And then you realize that that one sucks, and then the next one you did is going to be even better than that. And hopefully everything goes sequentially in that effect. You think the idea deserves better than your current skill? Well, you still gotta give it your best at any given point, you know? Just do it. How do you know what your best is if you don't do it? Haha. Haha. Gotcha there. How do you even know what your best is if you don't try it? You don't even know. You may surprise yourself. Would this be better? Another shape up there. That'd be kind of cool. Alright, let's see if we can just get... Maybe we'll have another shape over here. Oh! Twilsbach. That's your Beckert on YouTube? Dude, you do awesome work, bro. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro? How you doing, Twilsbach? How's life, buddy? Well, I'm gonna talk to you in a while. What's up, Joe? Morning, Kwasek. How you guys doing? That's not you. Oh, okay. Oh, you just copy and pasted it. Oh my god, I'm confused now. Stop! What are you doing? For this one, we're not going to retopo. It's just going to be... this is all just for collectible statue work for this particular project. So that's why he's all posed out and everything is particular for this pose. Alright, let's see if we can get some... Let's see if we can get some... Maybe some leather feel to this. You just have the same nickname. Yeah. You little trickster. Let's see if this is going to work. I don't think this particular one. Well, maybe. Just trying to come up with a interesting pattern, which I don't think this one's really gonna work. Negative Ghost Rider. Let's find a different alpha. By the way, if you guys aren't using, shout out to Mr. Michael Dunham and XMD. This is some good stuff, but some good stuff. I like his little program It's great. I'm looking for alphas. I'm like, you know what? Maybe let's try this alpha. And then it automatically loads it into my alpha. What? That's dope. I would say the quick way to retopo is to initially use subdivision levels. And then by getting those subdivision levels, what I would do is just use the geometry ZBrush as your base. It's actually pretty good. I mean, that's not game res. It's a little bit higher than game res. But at least you can get the idea of where we're going to go. But you can, once you have that, you can probably even get it down even further to a target poly count of whatever you want for that particular piece. And then just reproject. Just use subtool project. Pre-drag, what's up? ZBrush, how you doing? That's what I would do. And actually, that's pretty much what I did do for my last game project on here. And then you just reproject those details down to the low res. And then you're good to go. So let's see. This one? Yes, that's fine. Thanks, bud. He's coming along. Trying to see if I could just get an interesting pattern on here. This one might work okay. I'm just alternating between adding and subtracting. Get some grit on it there. You know what, maybe what I'll do too is, instead of using this same type of like rolls here, maybe what we'll do is we'll grab this guy. Yeah, I think it's important to, once you get to this stage, to get away from just sculpting by hand, because you can only do so much. You know, like this, all this shit's really tough to sculpt by hand. I think it's really important to vary things up. Alright, let's... Yeah, I definitely made a little bit of progress. Let's bring this down. So these are good. I'm going to just turn these into flaps, basically. Because this is still Dynamesh, I can really easily just grab all this stuff really grossly and just start pulling it down. Right, and this stuff is going to just overlap. How you doing, pro? I think I said hi to you already. Oh no, it's pre-drag. How are you, sir? Yeah, I'm gonna try to get rolling on this dude. So all of this, just let's say there's one flap that comes down like this, because really what I want to do is kind of start breaking this silhouette a little bit. Right now it's a little bit too like bread dough. Cinnamon swirls. Snotty and stressed out. Ooh. That doesn't sound very fun. Yeah, maybe we got one more lip over here. Maybe all of this stuff comes back. What's up, Kumar? How you doing, man? CG is life. That is very true. Very, very true. So maybe this comes down like this, and then we're going to use maybe trim dynamic to start cleaning up a little bit of these edges. Oh, and that doesn't sound very fun there, bro. That does not. I understand the stressed out part, though. Dealing with government stuff is, and money. Ooh, it's never fun. Never fun. Unless it's super easy and you're getting a bunch of money back. What's up, Dabbit? How you doing? Nick, how you doing, buddy? Facebook peeps. Yeah, exactly. Pre-drag. It's really like once you get to a point where you got like kind of all your base forms down and a couple of the kind of star details, like the skin details that I was doing. You start getting all that down. It's really important to kind of vary up a lot of the surface reads. You know what I mean? Dr. Glacier says, what program do you use to render your characters? A lot of times I actually just use the BPR in ZBrush here. You can get a lot of really nice stuff. But a lot of times I'll just use the Keyshot Bridge. That feels pretty good. This one will be, I'm ultimately doing it for print, but since I don't own the IP, I can't sell the print, so it would just be for personal print. So what that means is that it'll probably just end up as a render. No, PBR is a beer. I don't know what this all physically based thing is trying to pull on what we know as PBR. Seriously. Poor Blue Ribbon. Joe, it's not really I mean, I think you can post. I don't really have access to whether you can post links or not. But we do have the Facebook stream where it might be easier to do. Might be able to get to more people. I just can't promise that anybody would be able to give you feedback. You're definitely welcome to post it if you like. If it's able to. Emma, what's up? How you doing? Working lurking? Are you working lurking or just lurking lurking? Pro, do you sculpt the twisted cloth bits or use a twist modifier? If you would UV that, how would you do it? Yeah, for these ones I just sculpted that in, and for UV I would not use a pattern on that because getting that UV pattern to move with this would be a freaking nightmare. A absolute nightmare. Do I 3D print it myself or don't bother with it? What I would probably do, honestly, is I'd probably just look into, like maybe Shapeways or maybe even splurging to see what ownage is like. But I would end up having to figure all that stuff out on my own. Okay, Emma. All right. Well, I mean, if anybody's here that that may be able to give some feedback to Joe, there's his art station. And thank you for asking. A lot of times people are just, "Rah, here's my stuff." Oh, you do? Oh, okay. Where are you located? In the world? You're probably in Europe somewhere. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is actually try to... Let's pull this stuff back in a little bit. I don't want it to push out too far. That way this guy can live. And again, it's going to be for print, right? So I want to make sure that when I'm overlapping things, that things are intersecting and they're not having like little holes and stuff back here, because that would end up being a nightmare. Mariano, what's up? I've seen this character several months ago and still here. Yep, that's pretty much it. Since I'm pretty much only working on this during the Pixelogic streams, a larger project definitely takes a while longer. That's for sure. And that's another testament to just showing how long a project takes. You know, it's when you see a professional working on something for quite a long time, it gives you a good idea of, you know, the time it takes. You know, this is not a speed sculpt. Moldova, huh? Interesting. Dr. Glacier says, do you use Marvelous Designer for making clothes or just ZBrush extrude? It really depends on if it's something that I can do really quickly without having to jump to Marvelous, then I'll just do that. So for these ones, these are just super simple, right? It's just a extrude, append, extrude, Dynamesh, reshape, Dynamesh. Europe. Oh, okay. Size of LA. Country is Moldova. It's the size of LA. Nice. Alright, let's see if we can get this solved in here real quick. Maybe we'll use some trim dynamic and just push all this stuff back. Oh, thanks, Pro. Pro's giving you a little bit of feedback there, Joe. And this stuff will just push in a little bit, and we get that fold over. Kind of working in the right direction here. So I want to make sure that things are sitting on top of each other. You know, it may not, the interactions may not work for real life, but ultimately you have to keep in mind that it's for print. So solving problems before they're problems will take you a long way. I still remember my first actual 3D print freelance gig. Holy cow. Man, I did not know enough for that. Oh my god, I made so many like errors and stuff trying to get like all the manifold geo correct. Ugh. Nightmare. Alright, so this would be somewhat okay. Just gonna want to keep this consistent here. Right. It's intersecting, but all that was gonna end up getting merged together anyways. So now we got some nice, like this movement is, this guy is coming up and then folding over through here. So it's a nice little breakup, and I think the problem here is this shape, and this shape are a little too evenly spaced out, and they're, even though this one's small, medium, large, it's not quite enough, and I think the spacing in between is what's really throwing it off. So I think what we'll do is maybe we'll move this guy closer, and we'll pull this one up more. Right, so now we vary this negative shape up more, and that helps the natural feeling, right? Oh, that's cool. I think maybe what we'll do is maybe we'll pull this guy out. Get a little bit more roundness there. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we'll connect this one with this one by using similar alpha shape. That way it connects visually to that piece down there. Hey Tony, how you doing, buddy? Thanks, man. Alright, so now we've got this connection between this piece and this piece. Even if we move to something else, and it's the same values. I actually got a counter up here. If you look just to the right of the red guy in the corner, in the left corner, bottom left hand corner, TOP is time on project. So right now I'm about 36 hours in. Okay, so I want to vary these up even more. So let's say this one is going to be the same as this one. So maybe what I'll do is I'll make kind of more fine lines through this guy. And then this one will have bigger shapes. Do I use the software? No, I just look back at I've done 12 streams on this guy. So 12, no. What's 36 divided by whatever 36 divided by 2 is? 18. So about 2 hours a stream. That's how I'm keeping count. But there's, I think what program do I use for that? There was an actual, program that I used for keeping track of time on projects. Harvest is actually what I use. Harvest has a time tracker that you can use. There's all kinds of other, freelance styles. I mean, freelance driven kind of time on project. So a lot of tutorials. I slowly realized that I know most of the techniques, and more tutorials will not make me better artist. As you said, practice. Yep. Dude, it's practice, practice. Here's the thing: is that when I started this project, I didn't know how to do this project. Thing is like each project, if you look at it as a large conglomerate of problem solving issues, that's kind of, like I don't know, I didn't know how to make this guy before I started, right? So in order to get to the place where you need to get to, you have to solve problems that arise by means of only that project. You know what I mean? So the things that I learned on this project, I wouldn't have necessarily have learned on on another project. I don't know where I was really going with that. Anyways, what I'm going to do is we're going to get kind of a little bit more smaller details on this guy. And then we're going to come and bring some of these details out a little bit. Just to kind of vary up, give even more variation between, maybe this one is a thinner material, but this one is actually a thicker material. Each project is a journey of its own. That's true. Yeah, I used Harvest quite a bit for their invoicing and freelance tutorials are pretty good. Or not tutorials, but tools. They're pretty good. So I use that for pretty much all of my freelance business tracking and expenses and invoices. Oh, sorry, Facebook fam. Sergey, what size will the model be? I'm thinking probably about 18 to 20 inches is kind of what I'm the idea of the level of detail that I'm sculpting at. Yeah, multiple micro problems to solve, like you said. Yep. Okay. Alright, now let's work on this guy a little bit. So this particular piece is gonna have to stand on its own. It's not gonna have anything to kind of lean against down here for the print. So I'm gonna have to make sure that the model is thick enough that it can be printed and stand on its own. 1-to-1 scale or nothing. I don't know, man. I don't know if I could print this guy at 20 feet. So I think this thickness is okay. But I think what I'm going to do is, instead of having a shelf back here, what I'm going to do is kind of round it out a little bit, so that at the end it still has the look of thinness, but the majority of the actual piece will be thicker to give it more strength to stand on its own. You have to come back to the model after a while, when I learned. Yeah, I think there's a couple of different reasons why you stop working on a model. One is it's due. The second is you're sick of it. And third is you feel like you have learned enough from working on this project that your current skill set is beyond salvaging the current project. Right? So what we do is we learn by each project, and the stuff that we learn gets us to the next level, you know? But if you work on something for too long, your skill set goes beyond what the current piece projects as your skill set. So if you feel that's not salvageable, or that it would take more energy for you to get the model to where you currently are now as a personal skill set than it would to just start over on something else, that's another reason why you end up abandoning projects. Thickness of the cloth is also important. Try to combine as much as I can so that the objects will at least be recognized by the slicer. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I want this to have enough oomph to it that you're able to actually, and you know, I'll work on getting this intersected where it needs to, right? Because basically we're going to see this, so we'll see this thickness here, which isn't bad. But then from back here you won't really be able to see that thickness either. And then ultimately it's going to be combined with this piece and probably this. All this stuff will end up, probably all of this stuff will end up being the same piece. So I think I'm just going to knock some of this stuff down a little bit. Yeah, I can't imagine trying to 3D print buildings like that. You madman. So we can do this thickness, but try to get, let's play some visual tricks to try to make it look like it's thinner when it's not. All right, if you look at it from this way, it's not thin, but if you look at it from this direction, like if we see it through here, you won't necessarily be able to really tell the thickness of it if we round out some of these corners a little bit. And then maybe what we'll do is we'll just put like a little ridge there. So now it actually looks thinner because you're seeing this ridge, but you're not seeing the thickness there because this is all rounded out. You're not saying it. Something like that. Visual tricks. Damn tricks. Alright, we're just going to pull this back just a touch. Now this thickness won't matter too much because it's going to be sitting right against the leg. So we can show what the thickness is or portray what that thickness is just by showing how far it comes up off the leg. And that will kind of give you the visual. Can we just let's turn this floor off. It's bugging me. You're killing me, floor. You're killing me. I use Windows tablet and ZBrush Core for almost a year. I'd like to improve my drawing skills, understand anatomy. That way I can dive into digital would be. Do you have any tips regarding this dilemma? Let me hold on one sec. Classic says, I have an Intuos tablet and ZBrush Core for almost a year, but I feel like I need to improve my drawing skills to understand anatomy. That way, before I dive into the digital world, do you have any tips regarding this dilemma? Here's what I've said for quite a while about the different, the dilemma of should I learn to draw or do I spend time working in 3D? Well, let me turn my heater off real quick. It is getting way too hot in here. Well, it's only 72. So your ultimate goal, let's say your ultimate goal is to do 3D sculpting, right? The question is, should I learn how to draw to help practice? And the answer really for me is you don't necessarily need to learn how to draw, like pencil and paper learn how to draw, to practice that specifically for 3D digital sculpting. I think the thing that you have to take into consideration is the amount of time that you need to put in to studying is very important. How much time you're able to actually sit down and learn the things that you need to learn. So for 3D sculpting, I personally feel like it's better to actually sculpt in digital if that's what you want to do, right? The problem becomes it's less versatile to sit at your computer and practice for the years and years that you need to practice in order to get to the level that you want to get at. That's, I think, where drawing becomes very helpful, is that it's way more portable and it's way more accessible to use as a study tool. So if let's say you did know how to draw, or you used drawing as a supplement to your studies outside of being away from your computer where you're doing digital sculpting. Now you can if you did draw, you can benefit from that time away where you're like, oh, I'm waiting for my girlfriend who's doing some shopping, Oh, I'll just bust out my sketchbook real quick and oh yeah, the deltoid does this, and okay, the deltoid does that, or the biceps femoris and the hamstring does this. Oh, okay, cool, right? You have that accessibility to study. But if that's something that you're not really interested in, then don't do it, you know? So I think I guess my point is that both have their benefits. And I would never say don't do one. What I would say is focus on ultimately what you want to do, what you want to practice, and what your final um, medium will be. Work on that when you can, as much as you can. But then use supplemental tools for when you can't do that. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I feel like sometimes I'm just talking in circles out my ass, but see if we can get this bottom into line here. Maybe what we'll do is so that's for me that's pretty much when I draw is when I can't sculpt at this point. I'm sitting having breakfast with my family, or I'm out and about. I try to bring my sketchbook with me, and even though it's not, I'm I'm definitely not the best drawer. Drawer? But if it's just for practice, then it's just for practice, you know? If you're learning something, then that's the most important aspect of that. Does that make sense? They just put everybody to sleep in chat. You know that? Everybody's taking notes on that. Okay. Let's... Anyways, that's about all I have to say about that. Alright, maybe we'll try to give this a little bit more oomph back here. That may be a problem if it starts getting a little bit too thin out there. Alright. See if we got something like this, but maybe a little bit different for the alpha. I'm thinking though maybe what I do is maybe I want to split this up. Instead of it being the same piece as that, I think I may want to split it so I can have a little bit more control over this and not have to worry about wasting so many polys with this one. I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's save it first. Save it! this one. So let's dupe this. And then what we're going to do is come on. Thank you. Let's just get rid of all of this in here. Yeah, that's good. We'll take a little bit less over here, just so we don't have something that's so... Yeah, that's fine. So I didn't want it to be so thin over here. So then what we'll do is we'll go delete hidden, close holes, Dynamesh. Smooth all this out. We'll do some trim dynamic. Hoping that I didn't lose chat. I haven't seen anything in the last couple of minutes. You guys still alive there? Dynamesh again. Actually, before we do that, let's get rid of all this grossness. I'm not too worried about all this back here. It'll end up being taken care of. Take care of it. We'll do delete hidden. Close holes. Alright. So if that usually happens, I'll just kind of manhandle this and do a little bit of trim dynamic usually will help. Just trim all that up. Trim it up, man. That's the beautiful thing about Dynamesh. Gross edges? No problem. Dynamesh it. Weird errors? No problem. Dynamesh it. Holes where you in your model where you don't want them? Dynamesh it. I think I lost chat. Let me check on my phone real quick just to make sure. Nope, we're just quiet. Okay, cool. Okay, there we go. So now that one's that piece. And then we'll go back to this one. Let's actually duplicate it one more time, just for the hell of it. We'll throw it down to the bottom. Just to keep one, because I'm paranoid like that sometimes. And then we'll just kill all this. Okay, delete hidden, close holes. There we go. Dynamesh. Let's do this though. Let's take this up to 512. Smooth that out just a touch. and then re-Dynamesh. Done. Now I got a little bit better resolution in here without having to waste so much on the bottom piece. Yeah, looks like I did lose chat. Oh, that's annoying. Let me relaunch this guy real quick. Sorry, guys. Restream. Ricola. Alright. See if that works. Alright. Alright, we'll see if we can find a different leather for this guy. Let's look and see what we got. We have moss, which might actually be kind of interesting. Could try these moss dudes. Grass. Let's try one of these guys. Oops. That's not what I want to do. Let's take this one back to this guy. Let's move to standard. Let's bring that back up, and then we'll grab this guy. Okay, now you're not working. There we go. Maybe we'll try the intensity. Oh, that actually works kind of good. It might be okay. I think what we're gonna do though is, since we are before I do this, I think I may want to Tilly in. I think what I'm gonna do for this guy is ZBrush him and give him some. Nah, I think it's okay. Maybe we'll just take him up to 512, see if we can get him a little bit more resolution to hold that. Maybe we'll do a quick clay polish. There we go. Clay polish usually will clean a lot of things up and still keep your overall shape. There we go. So now it's a little bit better. Maybe we'll get something larger though. It's maybe too much. We'll turn that down to say 6. We just need something. Something with a little bit of grit here. So it's different enough from that, but it still has a little bit of something to it. Then let's see if we got. Let's see if we got stitching. Stitch. Let's see if we can. Let's just use one of these. See if that'll work. Actually works out pretty good. So let's do this. And maybe we'll do... How's that look? Maybe we'll do it up here. Or what we could do is we can actually move this guy over a little bit. Maybe we just offset him completely. I believe the clay polish can be described like smooth out the surface, but keep the edges. Yeah, kind of. Maybe we'll actually move this over. Yeah, maybe we can move this whole thing over. And again, I think I may separate these guys too. There's a lot of wasted geo back here. Maybe this whole guy is offset over here. Might be kind of cool. There you go. Sure, that feels cool. I think this will need some refinement now, though. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to split this one up again. Compressor, what's up, man? Is the scale really big? Because that Dynamesh res gives me less def. Usually you can... so ZBrush scale is a little bit weird. Usually the way that I can tell if it's large or small is if you just append a sphere. If you just append the sphere 3D, depending on what size that comes in at, you can tell if the model is actually huge or very, very, very small. In this particular case, I say it's about mid-range. The other way you can tell is, yep, that's fine, is the size, your brush size. If you're at 1,000, is your brush size fairly large for the model? And if you go down to 1, how small can you get down here with 1? You can get pretty small. So it's a good range of size here. All right, so let's split this guy up again real quick. So let's do that. Let's duplicate him first. Yeah, let's duplicate him first. We'll take the old one, throw him down to the bottom, turn that off, just to keep it. All right, so grab this guy. We're gonna duplicate him once, and then what we're gonna do is gonna get rid of all that. Okay, that's fine. Yes, correct, pre-drag. So let's delete hole, delete hidden, delete holes. Close holes. Dynamesh. Clean that up real quick. Dynamesh. Well, that's fine. Not worried about all that. Maybe I'll just do a quick trim dynamic and just cut down on all this crap that may happen here. Okay. So that's just that piece now. Then we'll go back up to this piece. And let's get rid of all that. Yeah, that's fine. Delete hidden, close holes. Dynamesh. Just quick trim dynamic on this. I don't care that it's gross. You can even do move. A lot of times I just move all this so it's intersecting. And then Dynamesh again. Smooth it out. Dynamesh. Smooth. Dynamesh. Trim dynamic. So these ways, you can just do these. Oops. If you're having trouble with your edges, especially when you're in Dynamesh, don't be afraid to just knock them down with whatever you need. Trim dynamic is really useful for this. Dynamesh. Good to go. That's fine. I don't have those weird, like, little errors and stuff. That's all I really care about. Okay. So this guy, now looking at this guy, so looking at this one, I like this one way better than this, so it doesn't really fit that anymore. So what I'm going to do is, let's take this back down to, say, 180 something or other. I'm just going to smooth this stuff out. So this would have been helpful to have on a layer, which would have been good. But once I add layers, I can't Dynamesh anymore. So at this point, I'd rather not. So let's take this up to 256. Actually, before I do that, let's do a quick clay polish on them. That'll kind of clean everything up a little bit. When you do clay polish, though, it throws a mask on there, so always make sure to clear your mask before you do anything. Otherwise, what happens is, like, you start to see this artifacting happening whenever you're working on it after clay polish. So you start to see those weird things happening. Just make sure that you clear your mask first. Alright, so now that it retains my shapes, but then just kind of cleans up the surfaces a little bit. I found that using the new Sculptris mode and smoothing is really useful for getting rid of crappy edges like that. Yeah, that's another thing. Actually, you know what? That's a good point. Maybe what I'll do is, I think we're past that point. But yeah, the Sculptris mode is actually really good for all that stuff too. So I want to be conscientious of the thickness of this dude. Oh my god. Alright, base. Get the hell out of here, bro. Alright, let's throw that down to the bottom. Grab this guy. Throw that down to the bottom. Grab this guy. Throw that all the way down to the bottom. Grab all these dudes. Throw that all the way down to the bottom. And then we'll just turn those off. There we go. Now I can actually see what the hell I'm doing down there. Alright, so bring all this stuff in. So this will dictate the idea of how thick this little leather piece is. I want to make sure that that feels correct. To the bottom! To the trees! Okay. That's fine. That means that this one is going to need... Actually, you know what? To think about it. If this was the same piece, this would be the inside of the skin, this would be the outside of the skin. How the hell is it 7:15 already? Good God, man. Maybe what I'll do is I'll use a different... See, that's going to hold? No, I need more. I need more. So let's re-Dynamesh again. Nope, still going to need a little bit more. So let's say... There we go, that'll hold. Hold, brother. Okay, let's use a different one. Maybe we'll keep the moss, but maybe we'll just use a different one. Maybe use a different moss. Or let's look for this skin. Oh, that's cool. That's cool too. Tip regarding scale, using the deformation size slider will always scale the model based on the origin 000, which is the center of the world. Yep. That's a good point, Pre. Good point. Let's see. I don't know, let's try some of these. That one's kind of cool. Let's try that. Yeah, there you go. Let me turn that up a little bit. There you go. Look. Leather. So what do you think about sculpting a hard surface thing like a weapon using organic techniques and mostly trim dynamic? Well, I think if you want it to feel like an organic model, then I think that's okay. Or if you're going for something that result feels fine, yeah, it's fine. Alright, I think what I'm going to do is, so if you need to work on a huge monster, okay. It's a good idea to rig it for UV. Yeah, for if your model is going to end up living outside, I would say set up, or usually what I do is I'll set up my scale before I get into ZBrush. So let's say if I actually want it to be, you know, let's say if I want this guy to be 12 feet, then I would actually create a 12-foot box in like Modo or whatever my core program is, where it's actually gonna live in conjunction with other models that I'm using. I'll set that up. I'll set that scale up before I get into ZBrush. This guy I didn't, just because he's gonna 100% live in ZBrush, but most of the time. So like if I'm doing a realistic head, a lot of times I'll start with the correct size eyeballs. So what is it, 26 millimeters, something like that? Centimeters? Millimeters? I forgot offhand which one it is. But I'll start with that size, and then I'll bring those in, and then I'll sculpt my head around that. So we're just going to emphasize some of these a little bit, just similar to how I was doing the actual skin here. That way we could just pull out some of these details a little bit. Maybe we can break some of these edges up a little. The other thing you could do too is let's try something else. Let's try a different method real quick. So if we go to masking, let's try mask peaks and valleys. And maybe let's see what this does. Not really. Maybe if we blur it once. No. Let's try peaks and valley range. The other thing we can do too is nah, we'll just do a little bit of this by hand. If I can't nail a process within the first couple of tries, I'll end up just doing it by hand real quick. A lot of times when you do things by hand, it just feels a lot better. And it's more practice. Yay, practice. And then we'll go in and we'll do the same thing we've been doing to the skin. Is we'll just hit some of this with some of the inflate. Just pull out some of these pieces a little bit. like so. Yeah, so it was a similar process for the skin that I'm doing here. That I went in and just did a really light um, leather alpha for just getting some of the actual patterns down, kind of like this, and then I went in and pulled out a lot of the specific areas that I like. Right, so if you see like some of these areas, right, you can see just underneath the first layer was some alpha, and then just went in and dug in some areas by hand with the dam standard, and then used inflate to like pull out a lot of these pieces. And if you do enough leather, you end up kind of knowing how some of the patterns go and what feels right, what doesn't feel right. Then you can just, nice thing is you can go in and just pull out a lot of this one or this one. Let's do that one. Pulling out a lot of pieces where you want more detail, right? Some of these stress lines in the high movement areas. Tends to be a lot of crisscrossing. And diamond shapes. This ends up, how long have you been working on this, Pink? Sir Pink, right now I'm at about 37 hours. And then maybe we'll hit this with a little bit of inflate. Back. Add a little bit more details in here. Well, thanks, man. All about them details. Right. It's important not to overdo things. For me, that's one of my weaknesses is like overdoing things to a point where it all starts looking like noise. So I always have to kind of practice a little humility when it comes down to putting in details. Something I struggle with quite a bit is frequency of detail. Making sure that it reads. Something out here reads pretty good. I think maybe a couple little pieces coming in through here would be good. Show that he like bends over quite a bit. He's got to squat down to pick up his kills or pick flowers. Who knows, you can't judge the guy. Maybe that's what he likes doing. Like Kratos just comes along. He's like, "Oh, this guy's crazy. Let's kill him." It's like, dude, I was just picking a bunch of flowers, bro. Leave me alone. Just try to tear up this edge a little bit. Trolls like flowers, yeah. Nothing wrong with that. He's just Lottie Dawn one day and runs into this little kid, and he's like, "Oh, what's up, little kid?" And then Kratos is like, "I will slay you, boy." See if we can just get a little bit more information on these edges. That's not so... I just misunderstood. Yeah, exactly. Poor troll, boy. Maybe we've got the thickness of the skin here does some weird layering stuff. Maybe that's what we'll do here. Just so we get a little bit of information on the sides. Boy. There we go. Breathe a little bit of life into these edges. So not so monotonous. But whatness? Boy. Maybe we'll just do little layers. Trolls have layers. Alright, this kind of looks like leather. That's what we're going for. Boy. What's up, Alejandro? How you doing, man? Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Okay. What do we got? We got a half hour left. Okay. What are we doing? I think we can break up some of these edges a little bit, too. What's up, Art Dreamer? How you doing, man? Boy. Okay, maybe we'll emphasize this a little bit. Maybe this skin kind of comes. Maybe you got some thicker edges here. This. Really, if we can sell that, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. All right, break up that silhouette a little bit. I think what we can do is do something similar down here. We just break this silhouette just a touch. Just give it a little bit of a little oomph down here. There we go. Alright, so maybe we'll just kind of break up some of this in the same vein. See what that looks like. Yeah, it could work. stuff takes a while to do. Yeah, it's another thing is when you're working at this detail, man, you gotta have patience. Patience. Yeah, maybe the edge of this skin got frayed up a little bit. Afraid. Look, it's a frayed edge. Don't worry, dude. You'll be okay. I hate scary movies. Noble perseverance. That's another good way to put it. I like to call it epic stick-to-itiveness. That's how I like to refer to it. I can appreciate your steadfast stick-to-itiveness. It's free to use, by the way. You guys can free to use that one if you want. Well, your stick-to-itiveness. Throw this back here. Quid pro quo, Doctor. Clarice. There we go. At least it kind of breathes a little bit more life into it than just having something like this. Gross. This is all gross over here. Let me just break all this up a little bit. Ooh, no, this is going to turn the corner over here. Oh, no, that was okay. Anyways, well, thanks for hanging out with everybody today. Chat. Appreciate coming by. I'm not saying bye yet. Just thought I'd say thanks. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for hanging out. It's always fun, man. Except for that one time. We don't talk about that time. We don't talk about that time. We'll just throw this in here. Yeah, man. Maybe what we can do too is we can actually go in and break this. Ah, stinks. Well, it's fun hanging out with you guys and gals. It's my fam. It's my art fam. It's the other thing too, man. You gotta have fun. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Then maybe we'll hit these. We could hit. Maybe we could hit these with some fun shapes in here. That's kind of cool. For me, whenever I end up using like just a standard. Yeah, that's cool. Like a standard brush or something standard in ZBrush. I always try to kind of embellish or do something different after I use it. So instead of like just relying on that stitch, just use that as your base and then go in and sculpt some cool stuff on it, you know? Make it your own. Told my hubby you wouldn't understand the amount of time that goes into video games today. I'll have to show him your stream. It's very true. Oh, yeah. So much time. Well, thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out, Cauldron. It is definitely definitely a lot of time. Yeah, maybe I can actually pull some of these out a little bit. Some of these can actually pull. If I just, yeah, a little much. There, Bengtson. A little much. Right? And how long did that game take? We have no idea. Literally, we have no idea. That was actually one of the main reasons why I started streaming in the first place. Was just to be able, just to show the work that goes into some of this, you know. It's just like any work, really. You know, a lot of times you just take things for granted. You're like, oh, I want the thing, but then you don't really spend time appreciating what it takes, you know. So that was one of the main reasons why I started streaming, is to just show this stuff in real time, you know, and just give a better understanding of what it actually takes. And as a young artist, living in this crazy world of video game magic and, you know, digital sculpting and stuff, a lot of times you don't really get a good idea of what it takes, you know. Sometimes you see people like, oh, I did this speed sculpt in 45 minutes. You're like, oh my god, you know. Or like a lot of people ask about deadlines too, you know, like, well, when you're in studio, you know, like, does it, you know, how much time does it take to do this thing, you know, because a lot of times you're sitting there going, well, you know, am I just screwing around, or, you know, am I within the amount of time it takes to actually supposed to be able to do these types of things? So it's really important, I feel that, you know, to be able to show what it takes. It's important, you know. Yeah, it helps other people develop there as well. Yep. Your wife is in 2D and she works 24/7 literally sometimes. I mean, but it's not just with 3D art, you know. Like, good art, whether 2D or 3D, or, you know, whether you're painting or whatever, takes a good amount of time. I'm just going to use Displace real quick with a spray and maybe one of these. See if I can get a little bit of breakup back into these pieces, just so they stay consistent. Displace is a good way, with that spray, is a good way to get some of that noise back. But I mean, like, you've got a lot of young, hungry artists, you know, looking at this industry, going like, "Oh my God, what does it take? You know, what does it take?" Mostly because I was there. So it's trying to feed the right, correct information, to set expectations and standards and stuff. That's important, you know? My carpal tunnel hear you. Jacob, what's up, dude? Hungry, not young, though. Yeah, I'm not young either. I know that. How you doing? How you doing, Jacob? Dude, burger sounds good right now. It's been streaming for almost 2 hours, and I haven't had breakfast yet. God. All right, so then we get a little bit extra, in there. That's good. That's good. I think what I may do though is, let's see if I can get one more of these. Just see. Oh, this is gonna be for print for sure, bro. For sure, print. Wondering if I could just do this a little bit more. Oh, just in case you guys haven't seen this guy yet, this is where we're sitting currently. Just give a quick nod to where we're at. The journey that it's been. We've had quite a journey with this guy already. Sir Pink, I've been on this for 36 to 37 hours. I think. I'm not sure if I answered that yet or not. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all this stuff on a layer real quick. Yeah, he's ready to stomp the screen. Yep. Ah! No, sir, I'm not playing with my dolls. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one of these, and I'm going to do one of these. And this is how you get around some of this stuff, right? So there's one thing you can do, which is turn the layer down so you can get more or less. I think I like that right there. But I want to take it out of some places. So what I could do is, let's turn this off for a second, and then we'll store a morph target. We'll put a new layer on, and I go to my BMO, which is my morph brush, and then maybe I want to take that out of this area up here. Take it out of this area. That's just morphing back to what that was. You know, huh? Yeah. I think that feels good right there. And then we'll just bake all. Done. Excuse me. We have some clients who want insta work. We say 3 days, and the person ends up writing every 10 minutes, so it's nuts. Yeah. Yeah, some people are expectations are the correct are like if you can drive expectations correctly, I feel like you can avoid a lot of issues. Um, I've actually been doing that with my own producers at work, where like you know you get a task and they're like, well, okay, how long is it gonna take you? Like, well, that answer could be, oh, it's gonna take me 12 hours, or it's gonna take me 25 hours to do. You know, or between, let's say, 25 and 30 hours. But then if you take that same thing and go, well, it's going to take me this long to do this little piece, this long to do this little piece. These are all the, you break it out into, these are all the things that I got to do, and this is the how much time each one of these are going to take to do. It's much more understandable, you know. So it's I mean, it's like your producer is almost like your client, anyways. So setting those expectations and being realistic about it, I think, is always better. Of course, you're always gonna get pushback of like, oh, why is it gonna take so long? Like, well, that's how long it takes. You know, you want this, you want this level of detail, right? Okay, well, it's, you know, the other side is, you know, don't don't take too long to do things. Don't push it too much. I wanted to make a memory quilt with baby clothes. Okay, unique quilt. Took a lot of hours, but worth it. I gave her a price of $300 for a crib quilt with 12 outfits on it. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, if it because it, you know, you break it down in your own mind, which makes sense, you know. But they don't know the process that it takes to do all of it, you know. Um, they don't. They also don't know necessarily that a one-off um, is always more expensive. You know, you don't. You're not making. There's no large discount for you know, mass production of a particular thing. So if it's a one-off, there's no standardized process. There's no like um, you know, there's no pattern already created for it. So all those things got to be done. You know. So breaking that down for them and you know, getting them to understand that that's what it takes. Super important. Same thing, yeah. Same thing with art. All right, that's starting to feel like a piece of leather. A couple different pieces of leather, which is kind of cool. You know, maybe what we could do to this guy. Let's do another one of these. Let's see if we can. What if we do just do something light like this? Or what if we did smaller? Mm-mm. All right, what if we did this? This will be interesting. What I'm trying to do is this noise feels not quite finished. So I think what I'm going to do is let's just mask this off. And then let's just I don't want to get this in here. Question is, how do you know some areas of the sculpt will print with no issues and they aren't too thin, for example? Do you plan ahead to fix or any problems that this may arise? Um, you know, nobody's actually done, you know, nobody's done this particular model before. So when it comes to, you know, how do I know? The answer is I don't at this point. Um, I know, you know, a relative thickness is going to be good, um, but concerning the, you know, the overall height, will dictate the actual end thickness to it. I don't know at this point. I don't know if it's going to work. Or Beckert says put it in a slicer. You could let's put on back face mask real quick. Nope, let's want that one. I'll put on back face mask. I don't want that pattern to go through onto this side. I mean, there's ways of testing the thickness of it. So what do you mean by slicer, Beckert? What do you mean put it into the slicer? I don't even know what. I don't even know what that is. So I'm gonna mask off this side here because I really only want this to affect this top surface. Is it like a bread slicer? Is it a bagel slicer? Donut slicer? Saw movie prop? Maybe I can do. Let's turn off view mask. Ooh, that looks cool. Software for G code. Okay. Oh, is there like a free version of that you can use to test? Okay, so let's turn off the. What if we make small? Oh, okay. So it's SLI 3ER is the name of the software. I got it. So that is just this layer. So now what we can do is we can play with the amount. Maybe we could do something like that. Or we can create a new layer. Mask is off. Mask is only on that layer, I think. Yeah, it feels cool. I think it's a little too small though. So let's turn that off. We'll try one more version of it. So instead of masking everything else, I'm just going to mask this section here. Then we'll just flip that. There we go. Okay. Of course. Let's just do that again real quick. Whatever, it only took a second. Don't know about SLA render interface. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure there's all kinds of ways to check it. Check it out. What's it all about? Okay, so we'll turn off view mask. And on this one, maybe what we'll do is we'll turn up the intensity a little bit more. Whoa, way too much. Still a little bit too much. Maybe we'll turn that down just a little bit. That feels pretty cool. Okay, let's delete that one. Slicer.org. Okay, cool. So if you guys are interested in that, it's slic3r.org. For anybody who's not on the YouTube chat. All right, so we'll make this one more here. And then what we'll do is we'll do this side. I feel like I'm mowing a lawn. Okay, so flip that, hit view mask, then let's do another. Maybe we can actually do a different size too. That may be kind of cool. This is different leathers sewn together. Hey yo, it's 8 o'clock. Okay, create a new layer real quick. Let's just do this one. It might be kind of cool if it was 3 different sizes, right? So let's flip that, let's turn off view. Maybe this one's like huge. Turn it down just a little bit. Maybe we'll do one there and one there. Yeah, looks like leather for sure. Novaborn, I used the inflate wrinkles technique on my latest work in progress and turned out great, by the way. Awesome, dude. Bro, I know, right? That seriously, it's like last call at the bar, right? Oh, that's funny. You know what's really cool too is that you're like, okay, well this one is right. This one is top. This one is What you could do is actually duplicate that layer if you want it stronger, and then maybe pull it back a little bit. This one's top. Yeah. Just push all that back in a little bit. Yeah. So all this stuff takes time, man. It takes a lot of time, especially when you're doing this level of detail stuff. All right. I think that's it for the day. Let's turn all this stuff back on just to see what it's looking like. Okay. All right. Maybe throw a quick render. See what we got. Alright. Fortunately, I've been dealing with sick family, a bunch of other things. Yeah, only if there was enough time, right? Thanks, guys. He's getting there, man. He's getting there. We still got to do this whole freaking leg. But he's getting there. I really dig the overall feeling of this guy. I still got a lot of work to do on the base. I really don't want to do a base that big and print it, and I want to do something a little bit more dynamic on that anyway. So, but all these details are feeling pretty good. Maybe we'll try some dynamic lighting on him real quick. You can, Lamentius. You can. That's pretty good. 24 hours in a day is not enough. That's what I said. It was the other thing too is, I think the next quadrillionaire, it will be the person that can figure out how to stuff more than 24 hours into a day. I think it may have to do with something with working on a plane as you're going east or west. I don't know. But, and we're going to have to do some of that same stuff to this back piece. But now that we've kind of proven what we want to do here, 36 may be enough. Maybe. Anyways, we'll see how this turns out in a quick render. It reads. Get on it, Elon. You're right. All right. I think it's time, ladies and germs. See if we can leave you with one good render here. That's pretty cool. All right. It's been fun. It's been awesome. I'm going to actually try to do more streaming on my personal channel. So if you'd like to follow me on my personal channel, it's right down there. Twitch.tv/Brendon Isaiah Bengtson. I suggest copying and pasting that name because it's a little bit hard to spell. Website is right there if you'd like to check out my website. If you like my UI, I have that up for free on my my Gumroad. That is also on my website right there. If you're not following the ZBrush Pixelogic channel yet, I encourage you to hit that follow button. We've got a lot of amazing other artists that are streaming all the time on here. So if you're not, for some reason, following Pixelogic, definitely hit that follow button. And if you'd like to follow me, there's my page right here. Hit it. All right, guys. As always, I hope you had fun. I hope you guys learned a couple things, but most of all, I hope you were inspired to go make your own cool stuff. So do it. Make some cool shit. Oh, is Ashley on right now? Hold up. Let's see who's on. Oh, Ashley is on. Yeah, let's go. What do you think, guys? Let's go raid Ashley. Oh, I see. Okay. Let's do... Oh, you know what? I don't know if I can do it from here on Pixelogic's channel. Let's see. Let's do Pixelogic. I don't know if I can set that raid. Let me see. Raid. I don't have permissions to do that. Okay. Fine. Alright. Well, it's been fun. I don't have the access to do that on the Pixelogic channel, so it's been awesome. Yeah, I could try to host her on my own. Let's do that. Let's at least do that. Channel. Oh, I'm already hosting her anyways. Alright, guys. I gotta go. Alright. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.